So I know it's been a while since the latest update came out for GT Online, but because of my absence, there's been a lot of cars that have come out that I still have not got round to checking out. So I asked you guys on Twitter what cars you wanted me to check out, and well, the first one that came up was, of course, the Maxwell Asbo. I almost forgot this existed. This is, of course, the Vauxhall Corsa C? Is it the C? I really don't know the iterations of Corsas. It is a Vauxhall Corsa or Opel Corsa, but remade to fit in to the lore of GTA 5, but not really, because these cars would never be driving around the streets of LA. But never mind. Let's go ahead and check this thing out, and let's see if we can actually make this look sort of good, because these cars are generally known to be poorly modified things. They're the ultimate chavmobile. I imagine there's going to be some absolutely terrible looking tuning parts, but I imagine there's going to be some nice ones as well. So hopefully we'll have a good build out of this. Okay, so let's just take a quick look around this. There's not really much to see. It looks very much like a Corsa. And the interesting thing is that out of all the cars that we see that Rockstar make to make them law friendly and to change them so they don't look like their real life counterparts, but still do, I'd say this is one of the most accurate. This one is really close to what a Corsa looks like. This front is a little off, but generally, this is pretty accurate. Let's just go ahead and check out the tuning parts, because I'm sure there's a lot to check out. Let's start off with the liveries before we start getting a bit spicy with all the other parts. So we have the patchwork, which instantly, I just want to say, I love. Because I am a fan of the original Volkswagen Harlequins that this is based on, and I like this color scheme. It's very 90s, it's very cool, it's very different. It's quite, I don't know, I'm sure there's a lot of people that would find this kind of weird and not like it, but I don't know, it just reminds me of Harlequins that I've seen before on the roads, and I don't know, it's exciting to me. We have the flames. This is absolutely terrible. This is really quite terrible, and we also have them on the front as well. Then we have the tribal halftone. Again, absolutely dreadful. We have the Pussycat magazine, which is just going to add, I think that's supposed to be white. Maybe it is actually supposed to be pink. I presume this is based on the meme that a lot of girls own Corsas, and they often used to have Playboy bunny stickers on their cars. That was definitely a thing, definitely in like sort of like the late 2000s. You definitely saw that a lot. In fact, I'm pretty sure I knew someone at school, and their first car was a Corsa, and they had the Playboy bunny sticker. So there you go, that fits right in. We have the halftone shopping list, which isn't too bad. I actually quite like this halftone look. I'm not sure if that purple would go with anything, but we do have this as well. It does look a little bit wonky, and the shadows make it look a bit more fancy than it would in real life, because I'm sure they'd just be basic, just cut stickers. But we also have this one. Again, they just look a little off. I think it's because it just doesn't line up with that line there. They just look a bit wonky. But we have this one, which has got some nice graffiti-style writing on it. I'm sure this would look better if we got rid of that plastic bumper strip. I imagine we can. And this one obviously goes to like a fade of black at the back. Then we have the Los Santos Benders, number 69. Yeah, I think a lot of these liveries really based on the fact that they want you to get rid of this side plastic thing. But we have some Benders stickers there. Of course, it's supposed to be like soccer. I guess this is supposed to be a reference to the fact it's more of an English or a European car. Also, interesting that the football team is called the Benders. Nice and politically correct of Rockstar there. Then we have the Fukaru Racing. This one's very subtle. Not too bad. Then we have the Black Prolapse. I guess that's supposed to be, you know, it's a sports brand. Got the stripes like it's an Adidas thing. Fits in. These are actually, I've got to say, sometimes I feel like they just stick any old livery on these cars, like just stick in any generic racing thing. But all of these, I feel like they match the spirit of this car perfectly. So I'm a big fan of all of these. I'm actually going to go for the patchwork on this first one, and then we'll see where we go from there. Because I will actually make something... Actually, do you know what? I'm going to make the patchwork the second one. We'll leave that as a fun thing to look forward to. So, we have a huge selection of wings. These might just be generic wings. We'll soon see. We have the blister wing, which I'm okay with that one. That's all right with me. Then we have that one in white or secondary color. We have that in carbon. Then we have this raised wing. That is a mad look, especially on a Corsa. That definitely looks so wrong, especially when it's just this with the standard wheels and the plastic bumpers and everything. It just doesn't fit at all. Then we also have this with the primary flap wing. It's an interesting look. Then we have that in carbon. We have the drag wing. These are some fruity looking wings. The street wing. Oh man, it looks like a Teletubby. Then we have that one in secondary. We have this one as well. Oh man, do you know, they sort of like look like where people used to get Evo spoilers, like Evos 5 and 6 like my one, and they used to stick them on other sorts of cars. And this kind of reminds me of that. They've just not put the top blade on and considered that a look. And then we have, of course, the rear mounted spoiler, always a winner. But I did want to make this one look cool, and I want to see if it's possible to make it look cool with that rear spoiler. It's a bit of a push, but I like a challenge. On the front bumper, we have the primary colour arches. We have the tuner bumper. We have the sports bumper, which also has some plastic. It just sort of, how does that change from the original? Sort of gets rid of the plastic on the arch and adds a bit down the bottom. That's not a bad look. We also have the performance bumper. We have the street bumper and the competition bumper. Ugh. Ugh. It's just too big for the car. The scale of it is just so weird, especially when it's like massively high like this. It just reminds me of the amount of times I've seen people with Corsas that try to stick body kits, but they still keep the stock ride height and the stock wheels, and it's just never a good look. I want to try either this tuner bumper or this sports bumper. I'm actually going to go for the tuner bumper because I actually in my mind wanted to go for a Euro look. But I don't think they're going to have anything Euro look here, considering what we've been offered so far. But I'm going to give that one a try and see if we can make something cool out of this. Then on the skirts, we have the primary skirts, we have the secondary, we have the carbon version, we've got the street skirts as well. Just more ugly skirts going through here that just, I don't think they're good. Oh, especially that one. That looks like something for Need for Speed Underground. Definitely seen something like that before. But none of these fit the ethos of this car. So I think I'm going to go for the primary colour skirt, just so it sort of matches what we've got on the front. On the exhaust, is this actually going to be an exhaust? This is just rear bumper. Okay, so we have the primary colour arches. We have the tuner bumper, which is just oh so horrid. We have the street bumper. We have the Street Mark II. That's just, no, it's all sorts of wrong. We have the race bumper, which really changes the look because it fills in the whole number plate thing at the back on the boot here, and it relocates the plate down to the bumper, which is actually something that a lot of people used to do with these cars. They used to sort of smooth off this thing with the boot lid and then put it on a custom bumper. We also have this one as well, and this one. These definitely remind me of the sort of kits that we got on the Peugeot 206 on Need for Speed Underground. I'll tell you what, actually, I do want to play those old Need for Speed Underground games again, so if you guys want to see me build cars and do some stuff in that, let me know in the comment section below. I've been in a retro game mood lately, so that'd be fun. I think for this one, there's not really much choice but to just go for the primary colour, because I want to go for like an all colour coded look on this one. Just giving it a try. It might not be the best, but we'll see. Okay, so the ghetto speaker setup is actually very close to the old in-phase speaker boxes that you used to buy. Oh, if I can find a picture, I'm going to put it on the screen right now. But there was a company called In-Phase. I'm not sure if they're still going, but they used to sell this speaker box setup on eBay, and there used to be a thing that a lot of people used to buy. It was either this, or the FLI subs, or the Vibe subs. They were like the three main ones that a lot of people used to buy to stick in cars. I don't know if people go for these pre-made boxes anymore. I think most people, if they're going to bother with subs, they go all out. I don't know. If you're the sort of guy that has a box like this, a pre-made sub box in your boot, leave a comment. I'm actually curious to know. Then we have the integrated speakers, which is just a nice little leather-wrapped setup there. Big, massive subs, very tiny enclosures. I can't imagine that's very efficient. I'd have thought this would be way louder. But we also have that. We have the upgraded speakers, which has the amps built into these nice little side bits here, fiberglass as well. And then we have the subs rear-mounted, which means that in this case, the subs would be using the entire car's enclosure, or just, well, the entire interior space as the sub enclosure, which I can't imagine in this particular setup is going to be very efficient. I imagine that's not going to be that loud at all. Then we have the high-end speakers, which ironically don't seem that high-end. It's just that they spent a lot of money making a big fancy fiberglass alien-looking enclosure thing for it. I like these ports though. That is a weird port placement. That is strange. I mean, this is definitely something that used to be like very 2000s. People used to do these sort of builds. They used to go for these sort of crazy fiberglass things. The thing is, actually, the loudest setup is probably this one. And I mean, isn't that the goal? To get something big, loud, and rattly, and rattle your door panels? I know I've been there. Let's just cut to a video right now that I posted on Instagram of my old car with all the panels rattling. I've got to admit, that wasn't the most efficient setup with all the panel rattling, but I missed the bass, I've got to admit. For this build, we'll just go with the ghetto speakers, because that's a winner. On the front, now I did actually pop this bonnet up as well, just to have a look in the engine bay. And I've got to say, the engine bay does look pretty good. This is a really interesting look, especially because we have this like sort of smoothed off look. It looks like a shaved engine bay where they've rewrote the, well, the battery's there, but everything else, all the other stuff seems to have gone, and it actually looks quite nice. It looks quite neat and tidy. I will say though that this engine looks way too big. I don't think it's supposed to be that big for a 4-banger. That is a massive amount of engine right there. Does anyone else see that? The scale is way off. So on the hood options, or the bonnet options, we got the stock, we have the carbon bonnet, we have the hood bra, which is always a winner. I mean, that was definitely a thing, again, from back then. Definitely very 2000s Euro style. We also have the vented hood, then we have that with the vented hood. We have the inline vented hood. I mean, I don't want to go for any of these vented hoods, because they're all absolutely terrible, all these Evo style ones. Especially that one. That is gruesome. That is, ugh. We have the no bonnet, which actually, with the state of this engine bay, is actually not a bad look, I'll be honest. Even though this particular car, perhaps not so much, because you can see from the body lines and the way that the where the bonnet is attached, that you get this sudden stop here, and that's not a great look. Definitely not the right car for it. And then we have the side pivot, double vented hood, side pivot. Wait, hang on, is that an animation thing? Side pivot. Let's see, I'm curious. Oh, that is so cool. We have to press it a few times for some reason, but that again is something that was a thing at one point, where people wanted bonnets that opened up in a weird way and all that sort of stuff. I mean, this one is actually being hinged by literally that. Nothing. So it's actually not physically possible, but that's fun anyway. But in this particular case, I'm going to go with the hood bra, because I'm sort of thinking like a 2000s look, but at the same time I'm thinking, no. I'm a bit worried. I don't think that we can make this look good. I'm going to try, but there we go. There's the removed trim, which does actually make it look so bland on the side, because there's no other real mark. I mean, there's this sort of like line here, but the lack of body lines now when you get rid of that is just a bit... But then again, that was what Eurostar was about. It was about sort of smoothing off all those trims and cleaning up all those swage lines and just making the car look as rounded and smooth as possible. So, I don't know. Is that what we're going for? A Euro look? We also have that in a primary colour, which doesn't look too bad. And then we have that in secondary colour and carbon. I'm actually just going to go for that in the primary trim. Yeah, I don't know. I will be doing more than one build on this, though, because I think if I can spend some time thinking about it instead of introducing parts, I might come up with something a bit better. But we have these lights as well. These definitely look like the old Moret lights, although these ones have a glass screen in front of them. It would have been cool if we could have seen these without the glass panel and just have these moulded lights just there. That sort of detracts from it a little bit. Oh, we're indicating right today. There we go. I don't know. I'm thinking going stock. It's really hard to say, but I mean, they all look terrible, so I don't know. On the roof, we have the options of a roof rack. We have a roof box. Again, that's a very Euro thing that we haven't really seen referenced much in GTA, so that's nice to see that being introduced. Then we have the primary scoop, if you want that. We have the secondary scoop, and then we have the sun strip. We've got to go for the sun strip. Secondary colour, there we go. Then it's just a case of actually upgrading the engine, which sort of seems counterintuitive to these cars generally, but we'll do it anyway. How does the slam suspension? Oh no! I was thinking it in my head as I clicked it. I was going to say it, but we've seen it before I got the chance to. I was hoping that Rockstar weren't doing this yet again. Oh, what are you doing, Rockstar? They are obsessed with it now. They've had one car where they did the suspension like this with the camber, and it's gone to their heads, I think. It just doesn't work. It just looks wrong. It's just so bad. I'll tell you what, I'm actually going to make this stanced, but I'm going to start off with no stance and do it in V-Stancer and show the difference between this and proper dialed in stance. So let's pick a paint colour. I'm kind of feeling the orange. It's a nice sporty look. Out of many colours, the orange doesn't look bad on this thing. And then for the secondary colour, we'll go for black because those wing mirrors in white and in the sun strip are looking a bit weird. Just stick those in black. Got to go for some tinted windows as well, which also I noticed does tint these front lights as well. Does it tint the rears? It does. And actually, that does match the sort of things that people used to do to the Corsas as well. Tinted rear lights, that was definitely a thing people did. Wow, okay. I'm not sure if this is going to be entirely a good look that I was going for, but it's interesting. Right, let's find some nice wheels for this. Oh, and by the way, there are some wheel mods that I want to check out as well, and we might actually start replacing this stuff and start trying out some new law-friendly wheels mods. I'll be checking those out soon anyway. I quite like this. Quite liking the old BBS multi-spoke look. It does quite match this car, and of course it does match the whole Euro look. I'm going to go for that. And right, let's see if we can actually stance this thing. So for a start, there's no visual lowering, so I'm actually going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. Just lower this down properly. I'm actually going to make these wheels smaller. That was another thing that Eurostar was about making the wheels smaller. That way they can get even more lows out of it. If I get that down to like that, that's definitely getting on the small side. That's definitely going into the ethos of Euro style. Around there is looking good. Yeah, let's do that. We'll get a bit more width on it because they are looking a bit thin. We want some wide wheels. Then we can drop that down a little bit more. We'll get some rear camber going. We're not going to actually go crazy because I want to point out the fact that you don't need to go mad and still have camber. Although actually now that I've done it like this, that is actually a pretty sizable amount of camber. Forget what I said. Kind of hard to... I wanted to get that like there, but obviously... annoyingly, we're intersecting with the rear arch there. I might have to tuck that in, but it's not ideal. And then on the front... we'll match that down, get it all the way down. Look at that. And then for this one, I'm going to bring that in. So we just got it tucked in on the front a little bit. Actually, maybe we'll get that a little bit flush and just a little bit more camber. We can drop it down a bit more. And there we go. How does that look? I'll tell you what, though. So generally, I don't really care for these Corsas, but there's something about just the small wheels. I don't know if it's just because this is what I grew up with. I mean, I know that this wheel looks really weird in this arch because this arch is way too big. It looks way better here at the back. But there's just something about this smaller wheels and drop combo that just really speaks to me. I'm sure you guys may disagree. You might hate it. But there's something about that I like. It might just be a nostalgia thing. I don't know. I'm also going to go for the removed trim, which means I'm going to have to annoyingly now redo the old wheels there. I just wanted to make this smoother. It's this front bumper that I'm just not sure on. I've been sort of umming and ahhing between this tuner and the sports. And it's just, I'll tell you what, I really wanted the sports bumper, but I wanted that to be color-coded. It's a shame that they didn't offer that as a thing. Yeah, it's just a real shame that they didn't get the color-coded bit on the bumpers and have that all smoothed off. Man, are we going to have to get modders to come and make a better version of this Asbo with just some more tuning parts? I need to see it. I need to see this with a proper Euro look. Yeah, so I think I'm going to go for tuner because that's the only one that doesn't have the plastic bumper trim. It's not ideal, but we'll go for it. And there is our build. I imagine we might have a bit of bugging. Yeah, we will have some bugging because we've definitely dropped this quite a lot. But there is our Maxwell Asbo, all stanced out, Euro style. Definitely got some intersecting with the floor there, but then that is the style. Now, of course, if this was proper Euro style, we would actually have all red rear lights instead of this blacked out look, but I'm not completely against it. It's not that bad. You guys can let me know what you think of this build in the comment section below, but I'm going to do one more build because I want to do a Harlequin build just to see where we can go with it. So, let's see. This does look kind of cool going down the road, though. Oh, I'm gonna get some hate from you guys because I end up liking what looks like a Corsa, but I don't know. Okay, so actually, whilst I'm doing this build, I just realized that I did actually miss out something here. We actually have 2 options for lids on the lights. I just completely managed to miss that one. But again, this is definitely of the style of the era, so it's an interesting thing, although I think a bad boy bonnet would have been a cooler look. Okay, so actually, as I'm doing this build, I just want to make this note before I change everything that I'm doing. I tried to make a tuner build, like an actual race car sort of thing, and it's not working. So this car just does not suit that look. I cannot do it to myself. I'm gonna have to change this up. Right, let's continue on with this. Okay, so I don't know what to do with this build. It's not doing it for me. I think it's just the car in general's not doing it for me. There's some things that I feel like this mod, it's not even a mod, is it? It's actually Rockstar made this. There's something, it's just not gelling for me. So it's just, some parts have been overlooked. I think the front bumper options aren't great. I think the lights could have been done a little better. I think the rear bumper options are pretty minimal as well, because it's either this or just absolutely disgusting. I mean, there's not even a tiny little a lip kit or anything. There's no middle ground. And then there's the inconsistency with the plastics and the bumpers. It's just, I just wanted to see something a bit more smoothed out that just didn't end up looking like that. And yeah, this color scheme, I think, you know, keep it to a Volkswagen Polo or, you know, something like that. It's not going to work in something else. At least not in this case. I'm going to consider that one a failure, which I don't often do, because I think actually I did right the first time. I think this one does the job. It's simple, and I think that is where Corsas that I've seen modified have gone wrong so often, is that they try to make it overcomplicated. They try to make them into crazy sports cars that they're never supposed to be. It's so much easier to just... I think it's just because I just like the Euro look. It's definitely a look that I'd like to see brought back. Some of those ethoses of minimalism and smoothing out stuff. I'd like to see that being brought back. So I think, because it reminds me of that, this build's a winner. You guys can let me know what you think in the comment section below. But this one, yeah, it's not working for me. But that's it for this video. If you have got all the way to the end of this video, this is actually quite a long recording. I just realised I've done an Englander here. I'm driving on the correct side of the road to me. Yeah. I like how I naturally did that. I didn't even think about it. But if you have got all the way to the end of this video, you can say... Keltat. Celtat even. You can say Celtat in the comment section below. That's to let me know you watched the whole thing. But apart from that, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.